Today, we're getting into a story that might feel incredibly familiar for a lot of you. It's about that moment when you look up and realize the beautiful chaos of a new baby has somehow created this quiet, growing distance from your partner. We're going to explore how one couple found their way through it and back to being us again.
Ugh, you always do this. Have you ever said that? Or had it said to you? It's one of those phrases that just stops a conversation dead in its tracks. But really, it's the start of a fight that's about everything and nothing all at the same time. It's just the very, very tip of the iceberg.
So, for the couple in our story today, this exact line came up over something that should have been super simple, a family walk. But the fight wasn't really about being late for the walk. No, it was about that heavy, invisible feeling of carrying the entire mental load. It was about the sting of suddenly feeling like you're playing on two completely different teams.
Okay, so let's get right into it. Let's break down the exact moment that all these feelings just boiled over. It all kicked off with what seemed like a totally harmless request.
Picture this. She asks, "Hey, can we go for a walk?" He says, "Yeah, absolutely. Just give me like 5 minutes." But you know how it goes. 5 minutes turns into 15. He's scrolling on his phone, maybe grabbing a snack. Meanwhile, she's doing that constant mental gymnastics that new moms do, tracking nap windows, feeding times, all of it. So when he finally says, "Okay, I'm ready," she's not, because the work isn't done. The baby still needs to be dressed, the diaper bag needs to be packed, and all of that, it still fell on her. And right there, something just snapped. That moment with the walk, it wasn't just a random bad day, it was really a symptom of this much bigger, quieter shift that had been happening ever since their baby arrived. Let's kind of zoom out a little and see how the whole vibe of their relationship had changed. And wow, the contrast was stark. Before the baby, they were a solid we. They were patient, supportive, and they were actually pretty great at navigating disagreements. But after the baby, the whole atmosphere became tense, distant. Every little annoyance, every small frustration felt like more evidence that they just weren't on the same team anymore. This really just says it all, doesn't it? It's such a specific kind of loneliness. It's not that they're gone. They're right there, sitting next to you on the couch. But you miss them. It's this deep, disorienting feeling that so many new parents go through, but we barely talk about. So, what do you do with that feeling? Well, she started making what she calls a silent deal with herself. To avoid a fight, she'd just do it. Pack the bag herself, make the doctor's appointment, just handle it. And in the moment, it feels easier, right? Just keep the peace. But the long-term cost is huge because doing it all yourself just builds up this quiet resentment, and staying silent makes you feel completely invisible. But right here is where the story starts to turn. And the fix wasn't some huge, dramatic, sit-down conversation. It was something way smaller, a tiny shift that changed absolutely everything. Instead of launching into another fight about who does what, she managed to dig down and say what was really going on underneath. She just pushed past all the "you always" and "you never" accusations and said this one incredibly vulnerable sentence. It wasn't about the tasks anymore. It was about the team. And you know what? Those words, they landed. The proof didn't come in a big apology or a long talk. It came in a quiet, simple action. The very next time they were getting ready to go out, he just started packing the diaper bag. No big, "Hey, look at me helping," no fanfare. He just did it. And that tiny action, it spoke volumes. It was this tangible proof that he didn't just hear the frustration. He heard the real message underneath it. It was like he was saying, "I heard you. I'm trying. You're not alone in this." And that single moment brought back something that had been gone for a long time: hope. So this one small moment of repair, it was basically the seed for a whole new way of thinking. The shift from me versus you to us versus the problem. So let's look at some of the practical tools that actually came out of this. The author started using this simple technique on herself. Before she would bring up a problem, she would just pause. Not a dramatic passive-aggressive pause, but a real moment to check in, to ask herself, 1, what am I really feeling? It's usually not just angry. It's probably more like overwhelmed or lonely or unseen. And 2, what do I actually need? Getting clear on those two things first can change the entire tone of a conversation. And here's what that looks like in action. It's like translating that first flash of blame into what's actually true for you. So instead of, "You always drag your feet," you pause and you translate it to, "When plans get delayed, I feel like the mental load all falls on me."
You see the difference? One is an attack, the other is just explaining your experience. It's a game changer.
And look, if this story is hitting a little too close to home for you, please hear this. You are not alone. This is an incredibly common experience. Research shows that a ton of couples see a real dip in their relationship satisfaction after a baby comes. It does not mean your relationship is broken. It means you're human and you're going through one of the biggest transitions imaginable.
So this whole journey actually led the author to create a brand she calls We Not Me. And it's really built on these 3 pillars. First, it's a mindset, seeing every problem as us versus the problem. Second, it's a set of tools, these practical phrases and habits you can actually use when you're exhausted. And third, it's a brand, a space for honest stories just like this one, backed by research.
So, as we start to wrap this up, the real takeaway from this story is an invitation to bring this idea of we back into your own life.
So, does any of this sound familiar? Maybe for you, your walk moment is about the mountain of dishes, or the fact that the bedtime routine always falls on you. Maybe it's that constant, exhausting calculation you do in your head. Do I speak up and start a fight, or do I stay quiet and just let the resentment build? Or maybe it's that quiet, heavy question you ask yourself late at night. Is this just how it is now?
If any of that felt true, here is the most important takeaway of all. There is nothing wrong with you. Finding this season of life hard is not a personal failure. It is a completely normal response to one of the most intense shifts a relationship can possibly go through. It is okay and normal to struggle. That story about the diaper bag proves you don't need some massive relationship overhaul to start reconnecting. It almost always begins with one tiny shift. So the final question we want to leave you with is this. What is one small we shift, one small action, or one different way of phrasing something that you can make today?